Hello and happy Sunday. This is our weekly sit-down Sunday Q&A where we answer 2 or 3 of your questions every week.
Yes, so this week we are going to answer a question and talk briefly about recurrent miscarriages. And
also answering a question about sleep. Should you put your baby down a little bit drowsy, or do they need to be all the way asleep before you put them down to get them to stay asleep? And just in case this is your first time meeting us, I'm Kurt. I'm a board-certified pediatrician.
I'm Sarah. I'm a board-certified OBGYN.
And we are the Doctors Bjorkman.
All right, we are back, and let us get to our first question. This first one is from Millie Spence, and they wrote, I had 4 miscarriages since February, pregnant every time I've ovulated. I'm clearly very fertile and have had 1 successful pregnancy with my daughter. Is there any suggestions on how I can make one stick? I'm now 4 weeks pregnant again and feel like I can't celebrate it anymore.
Gosh, that sounds really tough spot to be.
That's really tough, Millie, and I'm so sorry, and I know you want to be excited right now, and I totally understand your fear of not wanting to get your hopes up. So in terms of, is there anything you can do to make it stick? So when women have had 2 or more miscarriages, it is called recurrent pregnancy loss. And this is definitely something you're going to, if this continues, to check in with your OBGYN or fertility specialist to talk about, as there is a workup that we do to make sure we're not missing anything. So this is pretty rare. Less than 5% of women experience 2 or more miscarriages, and less than 1% experience 3 or more. So you are in that really rare group of people who have experienced 4 miscarriages. There is a workup where your doc will want to check out make sure your anatomy is normal, that you have a normal shaped uterus. They'll want to do, some blood work to make sure that all of your endocrine system is working, your thyroid, some different things, make sure that's all in order. There is some blood tests to check if you have any blood clotting disorders. And what's unfortunate is even after this workup for recurrent pregnancy loss, more than half of the time we don't have a good answer. The other really frustrating thing with recurrent pregnancy loss, or RPL, is there is not a lot of great evidence-based treatment for it. Depending on how those tests come back, there are some things, perhaps there's something with your uterus, an anomaly that needs to be corrected, or if you have some blood clotting disorders or different things, potentially taking some medication early in pregnancy. It's a very frustrating diagnosis. I can put some stats up here about chances of pregnancy after these different losses and chances, just so you can look through that. But our hearts are with you. Touch base with your OBGYN or an REI sometime soon. Fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, recurrent pregnancy loss sounds like one of the toughest things.
Brutal. Yeah, it's really tough.
And even just miscarriage itself is really common, but having it happen many times is not.
Yeah.
So if you have more questions about miscarriage too, also we have done an episode about miscarriage in the past.
We have.
We'll put a card up for you too to see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question. So this one is coming from Avery Elizabeth, who says, I'm wondering if there's any evidence on putting babies to sleep drowsy but awake before 12 weeks old. My little one is going to be 8 weeks this Sunday and is struggling with falling asleep in my arms at all anymore. I know sleep training is still a few months off, so any advice on how to make drowsy but awake successful, or any other advice about getting her to fall asleep? Gosh.
Drowsy but awake.
Drowsy but awake.
That's like the elusive thing that everybody tells you to try, and is there evidence on it? I don't think there's any data that says.
Yeah,
right?
No, I don't think so. So, and that's really the challenge with sleep, and even as we talked about in our sleep training episode too, is there's not a lot of evidence, and the studies that have been done are really just showing about that things are possible and that there can be some fine outcomes no matter how you go about helping your baby learn to sleep.
Right.
There is this general recommendation that if you can get your baby to go down drowsy but awake, that then it's helping them realize like, oh, I'm going to sleep in my crib. When they wake up, they're like, oh, this is right where I was when I fell asleep, is the thought behind that. I will tell you, we tried that a lot, and what that meant is like we'd get her almost to sleep. You'd ever so gently put her in the crib, and then she'd wake up, which I think is parental struggles everywhere.
Yeah, it's like putting that bomb gently down in the crib without setting it off. It is every parent has tried this.
And we've had some friends that have a snoo and they love it because then the snoo just does its little rocky thing. We decided that we didn't think it was worth the investment, so we became our own snoo where we just would put her down and then would continue to rock her. That so she felt your presence. She's now like in her crib, and that helped us try to make that transition. I have no clue if this helped our transition to sleeping through the night and on her own. She ended up doing very well on that, but I imagine that's more her than anything we did right. But
so we have a video all about newborn sleep that we can link here. As you said, you know, you're a little bit a ways from that sleep training. And those early days of sleep are
tricky, but I think the fact that you're being intentional about it, the more you can be intentional about sleep kind of in this 2-3 month of age, it sets you up for success. Hopefully, when the time comes for a baby to be learning how to sleep through the night on their own.
And I think we talk about how to develop some of those healthy sleep habits in a lot more detail in that video. So check that out.
Awesome. Other things,
sleep,
about sleep, we got a ton of questions about naps, what you should do for your baby napping, and how do you work on sleep learning, sleep training with nap time. It is a totally different ball game. Our quick advice is to work on nighttime sleep first and then nap sleep later. But because there's a lot involved in that, we're going to do a whole episode on napping, hopefully coming out in the next couple weeks. We'll try not to keep you waiting too long for that if that's something you're desperate for.
Yes, naps are critical for mom and baby and caregivers. So
that's it for us this week. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you can see us on Wednesdays and then back here next Sunday. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll be happy to get to them as we can.
Have a great week.
Bye, guys. We're doctors.
But not your doctors.
Anything we've said in this video is for education or entertainment purposes only.
It is not medical advice.
Any specific medical questions you have should be directed to your provider.